So yeah, I'm sure I was thinking like some people are gonna be like, what does she mean she manifested her dream life in 2020 and why is she posting this right now when all of this craziness is happening and we're all in lockdown and we're all social distancing and we're in self-quarantine. But yeah, I mean this works perfectly for that as well. That's kind of my lifestyle as it is, so I'm really not affected. So find a way to Hello everyone, my name is Monica and thank you so much for coming or coming back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is about how I manifested my dream life in 2020. So if you've been subscribed to my channel, you may have noticed I've been kind of MIA for about over 2 months, except for the last video I posted, which was a collaboration video. And the reason is because I was manifesting something huge, and so it's a good thing on my end, but also but affected my channel in a negative way because I wasn't able to film and edit and upload videos. But that is going to change as of now because of this manifestation. So let's get into this story time. So you may have noticed that I am in a completely different place with a different background than normally what I have, and the reason why is because my huge manifestation is, and this is something I haven't talked about on my channel, I don't think at all. I haven't even mentioned or hinted at what it is, but my close friends and family already know what this is, and that is becoming a full-time RVer. So that is where I am right now, currently in my RV. I might throw in some clips later that I filmed previously that I was going to do for a video a long time ago on my old channel, so you can get a little bit of a tour, just see kind of what the inside looks like. So some people may be like, why the heck would you ever want to live in an RV full time? It's such a small space compared to an apartment or a house, and it may not be as comfortable, and you have to move a lot. So like, where's the stability in that? But the thing is that my husband and I have wanted to do this for quite some time now. And I'll just go into the story of how it started. But before I start on the story, I just wanted to show you all of this cute RV related type camping stuff that I found. I thought was so cute. So we found this magnet, oddly enough, at like a tea house in Colorado. But we bought this before we started living in the RV. And if you can see that, it says never RV alone, and it has a picture of a dog on a little camping chair. So we had that on our fridge for the longest time before we actually started full-time RVing. And then this shirt I bought is new, and I found this when I was shopping, and it just says get lost with mountains in the background. I thought that was kind of perfect for camping, so I got that. And then I found this other shirt at the same store that says, see if I can get it. So I found this other shirt, it says, camping hair, don't care. And yeah, as you can see, I'm not really doing my hair as much because, you know, I'm camping, I'm roughing it in a sense. And I just don't care so much about that sort of thing right now. Oh, and there's one more thing I forgot. Let me go grab it. Okay, and then I also found this super cute makeup bag that says adventure awaits. And it has like little camping signals on the back. And I found this at Whole Foods, and I double checked and the entire bag is vegan. So I had to get this. It was too cute to pass up. So anyways, the way that this whole idea got started for us was, oddly enough, my husband and I were watching House Hunters, I want to say probably 2-3 years ago now. And we were sitting in our apartment, and the episode was about a couple who had moved to some tropical place. I forgot where the place was, and they had started a business there and they were living there, and they had mentioned, and this clip was probably less than 30 seconds, but they had mentioned that they had lived in an RV, I think for about a year, in order to save up for their dream to move to this tropical place and live their life there. That's how the seed had initially gotten planted in our heads. And so my husband and I talked about it afterwards, and he was like, huh, that's kind of cool. Like, would you think about doing something like that? And at first, I guess I said no. I don't quite remember this, but I said no, and I wasn't open to the idea. I was like, nah, not for me. And then like maybe a month or so went by, and I started thinking about it more, and I was like, you know what? That is a good idea. Like, why don't we live in an RV, and why don't we live super cheap and pay off all our debts, like all student loans and stuff like that, and just be debt free. Like, that would be awesome. And we'd have an RV so we could like travel some and whatnot. But I think at this point we weren't planning on being full-timers, like living in it full-time. It was going to be like a temporary situation. Like, maybe we'd live in it for a year, save up some money, pay off some debt, and then sell the RV or something like that. So usually we're not the, my husband's not the type to just kind of go for something right away, but usually he has to do like a lot of research and analyze it and stuff, and it could be like months before we end up making a move. But this time we both just went with our intuition, with our heart, and followed it and said, hey, let's do this. So we immediately started looking for RVs, and we went RV shopping, and we went to different dealerships, and then we finally went to a private seller, and we just fell in love with this RV like right away. We couldn't believe it. It was just perfect. And this RV actually was owned by someone who was an interior decorator, and so she had put a lot of her own touches and made it colorful and pop and just beautiful on her own before we got it. And so in the negotiation, I negotiated a lot of the stuff she had already put in here, such as like pillows and pictures and stuff like that. And it just feels so homey. Like, it's just, I love it so much. We both love it. And it worked out perfectly too, because a lot of RVs come with bunks for kids, and since we don't have kids, just our dogs, we didn't need the bunks taking up the extra space. So this one actually, for whatever reason, did not come with a set of bunks, just one bedroom or one bed. So it's very perfect sized and very perfect layout for just the two of us and our dogs. So after we purchased the RV, we have a travel trailer, which means it pulls behind a vehicle. We did not have a truck at the time. We had paid somebody to move it to a spot in Oregon where we were living, and it was a long-term spot that we could do month by month for as long as we wanted to. And we lived there for about 3 months, I want to say, until my husband actually got a job offer in Boulder, Colorado, which we couldn't pass up because we had lived in New Mexico and had visited Boulder a lot because it was like not too long of a drive, and we fell in love with that place and we really wanted to live there. So when he got, and we tried to live there, but job opportunities weren't working out at that time, so we ended up in Oregon. So once he got the job offer in Colorado, we immediately just moved. So unfortunately though, we could not find a place to park our RV long term and live in it. So we had to take the step of putting the RV in storage, which we actually left it in Oregon, because at that time we just didn't feel the need to bring it down and try to start all over with that process. So we left it in Oregon, and we were in Boulder. We got an apartment. We bought a bunch of furniture again. We kind of had to start over because we had downsized so much to live in the RV. That wasn't a problem. That was fine. And the apartment we were at was beautiful. It was quiet. It was safe. It had so many amenities. It was like luxury living, in my opinion. So, I mean, it wasn't necessarily all bad. It was still nice, but there was a big part of us that still missed the RV. So at that point, my husband was working. I actually got a job really quickly when we moved to Boulder, like within the first month, I want to say. And after a few months of doing that job, I was just like, there's got to be something more to life. Like, I feel I want to go back to RVing, but this time I want to do it full time, and I want to do it by traveling to different states. And my husband had already felt like that before I did. I was like kind of just in the whole, I kind of got caught up in the matrix, the whole just like work all the time and come home and like watch TV and like eat and go to bed and just do it all over again. And I just kind of accepted that. I was like, well, this is reality. I guess there's nothing else more than this right now. But then eventually that got old, and I was like, no, there's got to be something more. And so we revisited the RV dream, and we did talk more about actually traveling in it and not just staying in one spot stationary. But the only way that would really work is if my husband got a remote job, or I got a remote job, or we both did at some point. So it all worked kind of perfectly because if you've seen my first video, you know I quit that job that I got in Colorado, and I'd never found another one. I tried, but I just never found another job. While I wasn't working and I was working on this channel, I tried doing the 55 by 5 method for manifesting in the law of attraction. So if you don't know what that is, it's basically where you write like a sentence down 55 times in 5 days. And the reason for this is so that it really reprograms your subconscious to manifest it into reality, because repetitiveness, repeating something, really starts to seep into your subconscious. And I had never tried this method before, and oddly enough, I haven't done it since, but I need to because it worked so well. And I'm just going to show you a little bit, for some reason, of my journal. For some reason, I can't find day 1. I think I might have accidentally thrown it out, but I have all of day 2 right here, and it continues on. And then I have, after that, I have day 3, and I have day 4 and day 5, and I just put, I am a full-time RVer. That's literally all I put 55 times, because I was going to do, I am so happy and so grateful now that I'm a full-time RVer, but that was just too wordy, and I'm not much for physical writing, like a lot, so I just condensed it down to I am a full-time RVer. And the date that I started this, at least on day 2, was May 1st, 2019. So I wrote all this down 5 days in a row, 55 times each day, and I kind of forgot about it in a sense. Like, I just moved on to scripting in other ways and journaling about different things I wanted to manifest. And I may have mentioned it a couple times, like, oh, I'm so grateful I'm a full-time RVer, but I never really got super attached to the idea again, because I had a feeling it was going to happen. We both did, but we thought it was logically by crunching the numbers that it wouldn't happen for like 5 years at least. And the reason for that is like, well, we'll get all of our debt paid off, and then we'll have like a savings and all of this stuff before we officially start doing it full time. But that's going to be about 5 years, you know, with one income. But in the meantime, we spent a lot of time living in the end, I guess, in a sense, living the dream in our heads. Like, we both follow a lot of full-time YouTubers, and we watch their videos a lot. So at some point it was like every single day we were watching different RVers. We're getting knowledge about how to do certain things that would be essential to need with the RV, things that we need to know, places that people were reviewing, campgrounds, and places that are cool to visit when you're full-time RVing. Like, we were watching it so much, it felt like we were kind of doing it in a sense by living through these people, essentially. And we talked often about, pretty much every day, about like where we want to go, what do we want to see. We were kind of planning in a sense, because like we knew this was going to happen, we just didn't know exactly when or how. But we were like, we're making these plans, we're gonna write down, make a list, where do we want to go. And so it was constantly something that we were feeling good about when we talked about it. There were a few times, however, that we did get down about the whole idea, thinking that it's never going to happen, it's taking too long, what's the point of having an RV if it's all the way in Oregon and it's in storage and we can't even use it on the weekends and we don't have a truck, and is this really practical? So we did have a lot of doubts at certain points, and we'd talk about it, and then we'd go back and forth. We'd be like, should we sell the RV? Should we not sell the RV? Should we keep it? And then right before all of this happened, where it manifested, we even started considering buying a house. Like, we went through all the research of what we need to do to buy a house, and we had looked at several houses, we had talked to people, a realtor about, or a finance company about how to finance and the steps we need to take and all of that stuff. And we both had good credits, or we both have good credit scores. We were, I think, definitely going to be qualified. So the last thing we had done on that note, or the last thing we had done for that, was we had called and set a meeting with a finance person to sit down and talk about buying a house. And he told us a day, and he told us a location, and he said he would get back to us after the weekend, because we called on like a Friday, with a time. Dude never got back to us, ever. And we were like, we don't want to consult with somebody and give someone our money if they're not taking our time seriously. Like, that's just very disrespectful and rude. So we just kind of dropped it for a while. We're just like, maybe we haven't really found a house we really like so far, and we don't know how long this process is going to take. And then, out of nowhere, my husband gets contacted by a recruiter for a company. He's in computers, and this company aligns along what he does with his job. And it was a very good company, reputable, been around for a long time. My husband's very selective when it comes to places that he works. And he has a very specialized set of skills in a field within computers that not a lot of people have. So this is what they were really interested in from him. And he was pretty comfortable at the job he had already, but when he talked to the recruiter, he asked, can this be a remote position? The recruiter didn't know, so he was like, let me go and ask, and the manager of the company, and I'll get back to you. He got back to us, and he said, yes, we could definitely make that happen. And my husband was kind of searching on and off through these years of like seeing if there was something remote that he could do, but wasn't really having any luck. He didn't really find anything that felt right. And we had just assumed that in order to do this remote job and RV full-time, that he would have to take a big pay cut. And it turns out that this job actually came with a good pay raise. And I think they contacted him in November of 2019. So that's what, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. That's 6 months later, after I had wrote this down in my journal, doing the 55 by 5 method. So 6 months later, he gets contacted, and you know it takes a while for the whole process. He had to fly out there, he had to meet them, he had to spend the whole day, he had to do phone interviews, he had to negotiate all that stuff. So I don't remember exactly when he started, but as soon as he got the official offer, we were like ready to go. So for the last 2 months, we have been doing everything from finding a truck. We had to find a truck that was powerful enough to pull our RV because it's 32 feet, it's kind of long. And sometimes we live in mountainous places, so we have to like be able to go up mountains and stuff. So we did a lot of research on that. Within a couple weeks, we found a really good truck that I believe we manifested to that was better actually than what we were expecting. Like, for instance, it has a backup cam, even though it's an older car. After value market, they made the owner had put in a backup cam. So now, which is good because we have a very complex hitch system that goes how we hook up the RV to the truck. And that was a whole project in itself. Like that took about 5 hours to install. And it was basically like putting a thread through a needle. And it's really like, it has to be perfectly aligned like to the T before it will like hook up the sway bars and everything, so it just like will lock into place. That really helps with the backup cam because we can see exactly where that kind of needle part is going into, and it makes the hookup process so much easier. We know a lot of people have said in their YouTube videos who've had it that it took them forever when they first started to actually be able to hook up. So we're very grateful for that. And then the other big bonus thing was that our truck comes with this huge extra gas tank that sits in the bed of the truck so that we can fill up both tanks and we can drive for hours without having to stop, because we were very nervous about having to stop every so often and find a gas station that has diesel, or maybe it has like a truck diesel station that we can pull in through, and plus it just takes more time, right? when you're trying to get somewhere. So that was awesome. And like I said, we got the heavy duty hitch. It took about actually 2 days, not all at once, but we finally installed our composting toilet on our own. That took a lot of research and a lot of time as well. So that was a big project. And then our final big project that we're planning is to get solar panels so that we can boondock in the middle of nowhere for free and just be immersed completely in nature. That is our ultimate goal. So anyways, that's what took me so long. I had to research all kinds of things like tire covers to make sure that the tires don't get damaged from sun or snow. I had to research how to pack everything in so that it wouldn't break, and just I don't know, we had to get all of these tools and just like just, I don't know, I can't even remember the list of things we had to research and buy, but it was a huge shopping spree and a lot of planning and a lot of researching. So that is why I have been gone while we've been putting all of this together. Now we've been in the RV for about a couple weeks total that we've been living in it. And finally, I will just give you the reasons why we wanted to become full-time RVers, why we wanted to manifest this, and why this is our dream life. I would say the number one thing is that we both crave a lot is freedom. We live an alternative lifestyle, I guess, compared to a lot of people, or a lot of people that are in the older generations. Like, for instance, we decided we don't want to have kids. And not having kids does allow us, I feel like, more freedom as far as wanting to just travel all the time. Now, there are full-time RVers who have kids, so like you could definitely do it. That's just not the path that we decided we wanted to go down. So there's that. And then we don't necessarily want to buy a house right now. We just want to be nomadic. We just want to like travel. We want to see the world. And when I say travel, I don't necessarily mean like we want to see all the touristy places. There's nothing wrong with that. But we mostly just want to see different places in nature, smaller towns, places that people typically pass or never see. And with working a full-time job that's not remote, you only get like maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks of vacation at a time, and you have to be very selective about where you're going to go for that week or 2 weeks. And we were doing that for a long time, but we're like, we want to see more than that. We want to see more. I mean, we love where we live now, but there's just so much more. So there's that freedom of just, hey, I just want to get up and see somewhere different, or I want to go through a state I've never been through before, or, you know, whatever it is. I want to go see my family more often, or I want to go see friends in different states. It's just that freedom of, you're just mobile. That's awesome. Second big reason is just when we first moved into the RV, we got more into the minimalist lifestyle. We realized we owned so much junk that we never used, never looked at, and it just felt like it was weighing us down, like mentally, I guess. Physically also, because you have to keep moving that stuff every time you move, and we've moved quite a bit. So we just wanted to get rid of a lot of stuff and just live on less. And we realized that like if we just keep consuming and getting more and more, that wasn't necessarily making us happier. But by giving up so much and by donating it to people, we like donated my husband's car. My car got traded in with the truck, but we donated his car to a charity. We donated a lot of clothes and furniture and stuff like that. Some things we sold. Just feels so good. I don't know how to describe it. It just feels good to know that there's not so much to think about that we have. And then also living in a smaller space, there's less for me to have to keep clean and organized, because I feel like I'm a Virgo, I'm a perfectionist. I spend a lot of time cleaning and making sure everything's kind of just so. And that was kind of driving me a little bit crazy. So I wanted less to have to deal with on a daily basis. And it really has made me feel more grateful for everything that we have, because we really got to think about every time we make a purchase, is this something we really want to keep in this RV with? I mean, we have a ton of storage, but do we necessarily need to keep it or not? So it's made us more conscious of our buying habits and what we truly want and what we truly need, which apparently is not a whole lot in my opinion. Another couple reasons is just like we didn't want to live in an apartment anymore. Even though we loved our apartment, the rent would go up significantly every year, and we didn't want to just keep dumping money into that if we weren't owning it. We also didn't want to be attached to people anymore. We lived in a huge complex with 1,200 units, and there was just so many people everywhere, and I just didn't want to be around so many people anymore. And Boulder specifically is growing so much. It's just so many people. The traffic, I mean, it's not that bad compared to like LA or New York or something. It's all relative, but for me, it was still like a lot. You go to the hiking trails, there's people everywhere. It's like, I want to go out into nature and kind of be alone sometimes, and there really didn't feel like there was that option. Last reason I would say is we wanted to be more immersed in nature. We love nature, but we were just so comfortable in our apartment. We had gotten like this fancy king size foam memory mattress, and we had gotten this sofa that reclined, and We had our fancy, you know, like air conditioning and stuff. Like we're like, oh, we don't want to go outside, it's too hot, or it'd be snowing, oh, I don't want to go outside, it's too cold. We had our fireplace, we had a hot tub, we had a gym. I mean, we had everything. We were just so incredibly comfortable that I felt like I was kind of stuck in a sense, and I felt like I needed to make a drastic change, or we needed to make a drastic change so that we could get uncomfortable and start exploring more, start having more adventures as a family, start hiking in new places, and just being outside more, because we're living in such a small space together that it pushes us to want to be outside even more. And the furniture is not as comfortable as what we had in our apartment, and that's fine. That's exactly what we want. So this is pushing me out of my comfort zone in order to grow. And it just feels like this is exactly where I need to be right now. And it's actually kind of perfect that it all happened with this whole pandemic that's happening right now, because social distancing is easy for us. We've been practicing that like our whole lives, but now we're like really in the middle of nowhere right now. And we're going to be here for a few months. We're in New Mexico at a spot that is like miles and miles away from everything. Like as far as a town, our nearest proper grocery store is an hour and a half away. So that's like a 3-hour round trip drive anytime I want to go into town. And that's fine, because I only go into town for groceries maybe like once a week, and I stock up. So yeah, I'm sure I was thinking like some people are gonna be like, what does she mean she manifested her dream life in 2020, and why is she posting this right now when all of this craziness is happening and we're all in lockdown and we're all social distancing and we're in self-quarantine? But yeah, I mean, this works perfectly for that as well. That's kind of my lifestyle as it is, so I'm really not affected. And I actually filmed this video a few weeks ago before we actually moved into the RV, but somehow that video got lost, so I'm re-filming it now. I just wanted to share my story of my big manifestation and how I did it, why I did it, where I've been all of this time, and to also hopefully inspire or encourage you guys, motivate you to remember again that law of attraction does work. You may not get everything you want right when you want it, but if you continue to believe that it's coming and you change your self-talk about it and you start feeling good when you think about what it is you want, instead of being like, oh my God, it's not here. Why isn't it here? This sucks. Like, if you really just start thinking about it in a more positive way and then feeling more positive about it, it will attract. I mean, you will attract it, and you might attract it faster than you thought, because again, I thought it would be 5 years before I could be living my dream lifestyle. It took, I'll just say 6 months before the opportunity came. A few more months after that before everything came together where we could actually live in it full time. So yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so happy to be where I am right now. I know for a while before it happened, my husband and I every day were just like, is this really happening? Did we really do this? Did we really manifest this? This is crazy. Are we sure we want to do this? Are we ready for this? But you know, sometimes you just got to take that leap. And we definitely did that. And we're so grateful we did. And I'm very excited and looking forward to seeing all kinds of places in the future once this whole craziness kind of subsides and we're more mobile. But where we are right now is great, and I have no complaints. Alright guys, that is it for my video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye.